Don't you all just hate it when people bring up shit from the past that's over a year old, provoking and trying to instigate a drama war with you when you already have enough shit on your plate, emotionally harassing you to the point that you want to commit suicide? This won't be a rant. This is a message to Mayounnaise, one of my former friends who just recently, Saturday, May 7th, 2016, tried to start up drama with me again, and the only quote-unquote evidence that she has are a 1.5 year old posts that have absolutely no relevance anymore, and I am putting my foot down. And remember the censored messages that I put in my Akai video? Those are getting uncensored in this one. Before I begin, let me start with my side of the story and how I found out about all of this. For the entire afternoon of that Saturday, I was drawing, not going on to DA at all because I wanted to avoid distraction while I'm working on my drawing. And once I was finished, I had submitted it to DA, and then I noticed my friend Fallen Gravity, aka Mani, had visited my page, and her icon was so adorable, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I must comment and say how cute this is. But when I went to her page, I noticed in the comments section on her profile said, "You are not allowed to comment here." Come to find out, she had blocked me, for reasons at the time I had no idea. Since there was no way to talk to her privately, I had no other choice but to post a public status and adding her icon so that she would receive a mention notification. And in my status post, I basically said, "Mani, sweetie, I don't know what's going on, but if there's something that I did, please tell me. We're all adults here." And immediately after that, she ended up unblocking me, adding me to her watch list, and apologizing for blocking me, saying that she didn't mean it. Now, in between the post and her comment, I was talking to my friend Mickey over Skype. Mickey specifically, because I had noticed that her icon was on Mani's page under the friends list. Well, Mickey told me what went down. Mani had made a journal with a link to a 1.5 year old Tumblr post that called me out for tracing a picture done by Bitter Cherry. We'll talk about that post specifically later in this video. Mickey had said that Mani posted that journal, but by the time I had found out about it, it was already deleted, and unfortunately, neither Mickey nor I were able to get a screenshot. So Mickey invites me into a call in Google Hangouts to talk things over with her as well as Shiva, and I get a bit more detail of what was going on. And it turns out that while I was in the call, Mickey was replying to notes that Mayounnaise had sent to her. And I explained to Mickey months ago when I started becoming friends with her about my past, and I told Shiva and Luna and all the others the same thing, but they did not attack Mayo or any of them, and I absolutely appreciate that they didn't do that because they can leave the past in the past, and I don't want anything to start up again that is so old. Anyway, because I can hear Mickey's voice during the call, she was very calm when she was speaking to Mayo. However, Mayo retorted back, being extremely rude and extremely threatening to Mickey, saying, "Back off, Mani." Okay, first of all, you have no control over who a person talks to. A person can speak to whoever they want whenever they want. And Mayo, if you were being short with Mani and forcing her not to talk to Mickey or any of her other friends, dear, that's a form of abuse. If you considered Mani as a friend, then you wouldn't force her to do anything, especially dragging her into drama that she has nothing to do with. Friends do not do that. Not only that, before Mani came into the Fullmetal Alchemist fandom, she was in the D-Greyman fandom, where she met Mickey and became friends with her. So she was friends with Mickey long before even coming into the Fullmetal Alchemist fandom. But I digress. While Mickey continued to reply to Mayo, I started breaking down. And okay, I'm gonna be honest, I don't normally get very emotional. And if I'm in a call with friends, and if I feel myself getting emotional, I'll say, "Guys, I gotta step away for a moment, I'm gonna mute myself." But at that point, I had no control and I was just losing it. I was shaking, I felt nauseous, I absentmindedly slipped out, "I just want to die." Now I have vented my side of the story to many people, and a lot of them have replied with "just block Mayo." But here's the thing, Mayo has me blocked, and has had me blocked for over a year. So here's my question, isn't the point of blocking someone to never speak with them again? I mean, Mayo, if I make you so mad, why are you even bothering, messing with me? I mean, what, do you have a crush on me, sweetheart? Mayo, ever since I cut all ties and communications with you, Angel, Miro, Yui, and Lacey, I have wanted nothing to do with any of you. I wanted things to change, yes, and through the entirety of 2015, I was changing, and I was finding out who I really was. And by the end of 2015, I really felt like I could finally stand on my own 2 feet and say, to hell with it all. But then came the fateful evening of Friday, December 18th, 2015. A well-known Edwin artist was holding a stream on Picarto. I thought, hey, I really like this artist and I want to get to know them better. So I went to the stream and I was there for about, I'd say about an hour or so. And, you know, I was having a lot of fun. But then I noticed Angel, Hitan Tenshi, came into the stream. And I avoided her like the plague. I did not want to talk to her. And when there was a time I mentioned something and it was including everyone in the chat, I made sure to specifically not include Angel. Because, well, if I'm being nice to her and including her, that would raise suspicion. And I was already starting to feel anxious and nauseous just by her being there. But a couple of minutes later, someone else in the chat named Rini Hutt Jr. came in. At first, I thought they were, you know, just a fan of, but then Angel started mentioning Savvy, which is Mayou's real name. And at that point, I immediately started feeling the symptoms of a panic attack. And, okay, well, you see, the thing about Picarto is that it allows you to speak privately with others in the chat, so it's like a whisper in an MMORPG. So that's basically what Angel ended up doing. Blatantly attacking me and randomly bringing up Pris Cherry, who had no relevance to the conversation whatsoever. And it's obvious that she was only bringing her up to provoke me. And, well, you know what? I wasn't provoked. I wasn't angry. I was terrified. I used every amount of strength I had not to break down into a panic attack. I felt the symptoms creeping up on me while I was talking with Angel, but oh my god, it was a miracle that I did not break down during the conversation. After the stream ended, that's when I ended up breaking down because I could just finally just let it all out. The next day, though, I began to wonder what I had done to get them to attack me like that. I have not spoken to Mayo, Angel, or any of the others in over a year. And I told Angel multiple times in that conversation that I had moved on and wanted to be left alone. Not only that, if is your friend, like you claim, you wouldn't be doing this in her stream. And guess what? I told her about what happened. And I basically told her, I don't want to start anything, but I want you to know that this is what happened in your stream last night, and I felt very threatened and uncomfortable. And that's all I said. I didn't tell her shit like, keep your dog on a leash, or threaten her saying, you better stay away from Angel, she's a bitch and doesn't deserve your friendship. No. I just told her what happened and how I felt. Whatever happened next, whether she talked to Angel or not, I have no idea. Mainly because it's none of my business, okay? And I didn't even force her to talk to Angel about it, you know? Whatever happened next, I don't know. But I'm going to be honest here. From that day until Saturday, May 7, 2016, I lost count of how many times I looked at my sleeping medication and had the overwhelming thought to take a handful and swallow. Hell, what started this whole issue and made me separate from them all in the first place? I was hurt as much as they claimed that they were by me. And since then, up until that Saturday, I felt so much regret for what I did. November 24th, 2014 was the day that a very dear real-life friend of mine that I have known for 8 years broke up with me. I wasn't seeing it coming, but she just got angry and got in a fight with me, and it just ended in flames. I was hurt. I was emotionally and mentally shattered and unstable. And the following day, that Tuesday, that was when I just was unstable and let most of my anger out on Yui, Rainbow Broker. And that was what made everything spiral out of control and made me cut ties with all of them. But that emotional and mental instability carried on until February 2nd, 2015, where I cut ties with Miru. And for the remainder of 2015 up till mid-November, I was hurt, damaged emotionally and mentally, beating myself up due to so much self-loathing. Because of that instability, I was out of control. I made a lot of posts that I immediately regretted after making them, and I still regret making them. And no, I am not gonna lie. That call out I made to Maria Nova, that was me wanting self-punishment because I felt so bad. And the reply Mari made was just what I needed at the time. And every so often through 2015, I would look at the screenshot I had taken to beat myself up because I felt so bad for what I did to Yui, Angel, and Mayo and Lacey back in November. And like I said, I was so broken and impulsive, I wasn't thinking. And because I called out Mari, I lost Miru in the process. But you know, by late summer, I had given up on that self-punishment. I decided to move forward and make new friends and change. And I was making great progress up until stream December 18th. And you know what? After being attacked by Angel and Mayo in that stream, it made me think, why the hell was I upset for hurting people like them? No, better question. Why the hell was I friends with them in the first place? People who are emotionally abusive and manipulative aren't true friends. They only want you to become what they want. and to control you. And like I said, you all bringing up shit from the past never provoked me to get angry. No, far from it. It made me very uncomfortable, gave me panic attacks and anxiety, made me depressed due to self-loathing and anxiety, and made me want to kill myself. And yet, here you and Angel are, saying that you believe in change and hope that I change. Sweetheart, do you realize that beating a dead horse and reminding people of the shit that they did in the past does not help motivate the change? Like I said in my video about Akai Dahlia, it makes the change progress go backwards. It makes the person extremely guilty for what they've done. I've been trying my damnness to change, and 9 times out of 10, I would beat myself up for things I did in the past. I thought about it constantly on a daily basis, what I did, and you all bringing it up only affirmed that there was no point in me changing, and it wouldn't change, and I would never change, and that I should just die. Do you all really want to emotionally harass someone by bringing up shit that they've done in the past to the point where they want to kill themselves? I don't think you do. But then again, Mari did make that lovely little quote talking about the backlash I receive. I'm happy that people told you these things. Well, guess what? 90% of those things that people told me were death threats and telling me to kill myself. And you all are apparently happy about that. Alright, great to know where your priorities lie. So just that alone, it obviously proves that had I gone through with a suicide attempt and succeeded, you all will be very, very happy. Anyway, let's get back to talking about Monty's journal, where Mayo told her that I was a tracer and had traced my commissions just to get money from people. Like I said, I was very late to the party and didn't know about what happened until Mickey told me, and by that time the journal had already been deleted. But the main topic was from a Tumblr post written by the user Pandaboo Cupcake, and that basically said I was copying and tracing Bitter Cherry's art. And the only proof that they had were the noses, mouths, and the cheek curve were similar. So basically, only 5% of the entire picture. And it would just, whoop, whoop, aren't they, tracer, exclamation mark, 1 exclamation mark. Well, for someone who claims to be a fan and a friend of Bitter Cherry, you obviously forget one important detail about her art. She's a mimicker! She mimics the 2003 art style. She more often than not, even while learning, more than likely got a lot of inspirations from multiple screenshots, whether they're expressions, poses, facial positions, head angles, whether they're looking down, looking up, profile side, looking to the side, looking straight on. So if she takes any tiny details from something else, shouldn't she also be called out for tracing? This is not a double standard, but you know, I'm gonna stop myself there because this is not a message about Cherry, this is about Mayo and my former friends. Now, I remember getting that Tumblr post, and I should credit Cherry. Well, guess what? I did. I updated the deviation as well as the Tumblr post with credit, but even months later, November 14th through the 16th, 2015, when I went back and spoke to Panda, she still gave me shit for not crediting Cherry and tracing her art and bringing up shit like stalking Cherry, which by the way, I've not done since I was 16, 4 years ago, and even then I only went to her page once every other month. So I said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna redo the picture. And this past Easter, I did. There it is. Don't believe me? I'll leave a link to the deviation as well as the Tumblr post in the down bar. And that deviation has been that way since then. Yet, Mayu decided to show her friends, and my friends, that Tumblr post like it's still a relevant thing. It's over a fucking year old, so you have no case. Not only that, there is a fine line between blatantly tracing something and observing an art style, learning its technique so you can mimic it. Prime example of that, the cartoonists for Dennis the Menace and the Peanuts comics, Hank Ketchum and Charles M. Schultz respectively. They're both dead now, but the reason why we have new comics is because they had successors who spent hours upon hours trying to mimic the original artist's style to a T. Now, I'm not trying to say that I wanted to be Cherry's successor, but you see my point here, right? These people copy the style 100%. In my picture, the only thing that you can say are similar are the noses, mouth, and the whole cheek thing. Hell, not even the mouth. It's just the corner of it. And last I checked, Ed, especially in 03, has the exact same open, wide smirk with that little triangle at the corner. Not only that, but you're also saying the chin to the cheeks are the same. Well, in Cherry's, Ed's cheek is only puffed out because he's got his mouth full of food. Mine is going off the style of 03 because if you look at the 03 style and study it, you will notice with almost every character, not just Ed, that there is a noticeable dip between the chin and the cheekbone. Again, Cherry is a mimicker. She's been studying the FMA 03 style since she joined DA. Her style used to be Brotherhood until she admitted it and said, I want my style to be more 03, which is what it is now. Now, she's kind of thrown in a mix of manga style and her own and making it her own technique, making it, and it's 03 based, but it's still got her little twist on it so you can identify it as her own. That's what artists do. Most art is a mimic of another until it's developed into its own style. Hell, the Baroque period is a slightly altered version of the Renaissance period. And if you go to an art museum, you will see art students spending hours in front of a painting, studying every detail, the brush strokes, the techniques, shading, coloring, lighting, and they're there on their canvas, replicating it and only for the purpose of learning the technique. And yet here you are, continuing to bitch about an older version of my deviation that I've updated. Alright, good to know that you're obviously grasping at straws to prove a case that you don't have. But in all seriousness, if you're going to call me out, you might as well call all of them out. Otherwise, you're just making this a double standard, only proving that you're attacking me and making subtle jabs that are pointedly directed at me. Now, let's move on to talk about what Mayou used as an example of me tracing Cherry and not crediting her. I used to have a DID that was a colored rainbow line art, and Mayou brought it up with Mickey in their conversation that I had ripped it off from Cherry. Well, come to find out, Mayou, being a little kiss-ass, made her own and even sucked up to Cherry in the artist comments, saying that she was inspired by Cherry's line art style. Fucking excuse me? Line art style? Sweetie, people have been doing rainbow gradient line art styles for a long time. Here's a couple, one from 2008 and one from 2011. And this one was made in 2015, but you see my point here, right? And I bet you that none of them have ever heard of Better Cherry. Now let's take a look at the date when Cherry submitted hers, August 2nd, 2012, and there is nothing in her artist description that says she saw a rainbow line art on Tumblr or anywhere else. Hell, it just says to ignore it, and there's not even a copyright on it. Why? Because you can't copyright a line art style. And the line art shading, that's not original line art style either. Hat shading is something that you're taught in elementary school art class. I know I was taught that. I remember that lessons in my art class. I know I've done it before. And even so, that's not Cherry's quote-unquote original line art. Let's take a look through the FMA manga. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. And another. Look at that. Look at that. Same sketchiness. Same diagonal lines used for accents and shading. So are you gonna tell me that Arakawa, the creator of Full Metal Alchemist, ripped off Cherry's quote-unquote line art style? You can't copy a rainbow gradient line art because tons of people have already done that. I just don't know what to say to that other than it's sad. It's really sad how people will abuse their popularity, and it only proves my point. Those people just want to manipulate and control others. And if you're not kissing their asses or wrapped around their little finger like they want you to be, they make your life a living hell. This is not high school. The FMA community is a wonderful and beautiful place that I've ever been in. And I believe every single person has something unique to bring to the table. No one is higher or better than another person. We are all equal. We are all people. We are not idols on a pedestal. I will go on the record of saying that I firmly believe and will always believe that it does not matter how many watchers, followers, subscribers you have, because it's nothing but a number. It doesn't mean anything. And going back to your deviation, Mayou, fuck you. Really? Really, you wrote fuck you with your persona's middle finger up. You know, to a third-person party, they wouldn't understand the true meaning or motive behind the deviation, but considering everything you've talked about, it's obvious it's pointedly directed at me. Especially in those tags you put. Oh yes, yes, that's not directed at me whatsoever. And you asked Cherry for doing it as a joke. Really? A joke? Yes, because you know, hate and vent art used for emotional harassment and abuse is absolutely a joke. Sweetheart, Cherry wants nothing to do with me. She's been done with me for over 2 years. So either she was lying then or she's lying now. And if she's actually encouraging this act, then she's no better than all of you are. Encouraging harassment and abuse. She called me out for being creepy. The tables have turned. I'm in her shoes now, and you're thinking stooping down to a level that I once stooped down will get back at me? It's not. It makes you no better. My question is, what the hell made you so upset with me to make that? Again, I will restate that Mayo had me blocked for over a year. So isn't the point of blocking someone to never talk to them again? Even though I have no idea what caused it, I do have a theory as to why. Now, it's just my theory. This is a guess. Do not quote me on this. Mani, Falling Gravity, had commissioned me for art of her FMAOC Chiui and Ling. And I did it. It's not my best I've done, especially with Ling's and hands looking that crazy. That deviation was posted on the 27th of April. And of course, Mani cropped out Chiui's face and used it as her icon. So, putting 2 and 2 together, Mayo saw Mani's new icon, asked who made it, Mani told them, and Mayo spent that day and probably the next working on her little hate art for me. So, Mayo probably took it as a threat that I was talking to a friend of hers. I'm gonna be honest here, I had no idea Mayo was their friend, and I still don't know if they're friends or not, because first of all, it's none of my business who's in a relationship with who. Same thing with Angel and back in stream. I had no idea that and Angel were friends until Angel mentioned it. Even if I knew they were friends or not, I still wouldn't want to drive a wedge between them and talk shit about them to their friend. I don't do that. I'll gladly tell people about my side of the story, but I'm not gonna sit there and threaten them to never speak to this person again or back off from them like Mayo did to Mickey in their conversation in the notes. Again, you can't force someone to not talk to another person. That is a form of abuse, and that's not what friends do to each other. That's what spiteful little brats who can't let go of grudges do. And like I said, I don't do that. If someone is friends with someone I don't like, I don't care. People can be friends with and be fans of whoever they want to be. But my point is, if you have a problem with someone, you talk to them directly about it. Again, this is not high school. You don't talk to your friends and the friends and acquaintances of the people you hate and talk shit about them. Especially when said shit is stuff that's over a year old and has no relevance anymore whatsoever. Hell, Mayo, you are older than I am, and you're pulling this shit? If any of the allegations prove anything, it's that you're grasping at straws to harass me. If you think someone is an art theft, you fucking report it. You don't take matters into your own hands, get upset, and take a lot of hate Viagra to develop a hate boner, and just get on that person's case and emotionally harass them. I cut ties with you, Angel, Yui, and all the others over a year ago. And I am so fucking glad that I did, because after all that's happened, you are nothing but toxic and abusive. Meanwhile, I got out while I still could. I changed, and I am in a much better place than I was before. And after what happened Saturday, your attempts to start drama and provoke me will never work. And I know you're all watching this, and or listening to it. I posted the journal about this for a reason. And Mayo, sweetie, I just want you to know that what you're doing reminds me a lot of what I used to do. Yeah, you're doing the same thing that I used to do back when I pulled the same shit on Cherry. Grasping at straws to prove a case that I clearly didn't have, trying to turn people, especially her own friends, against her, talking to others about her behind her back. Hell, when Angel attacked me in the stream and saying, is a dear friend of mine and I will defend her. Guess what? I did the exact same thing to Cherry when I found out she had followed my friend's Edward roleplay blog on Tumblr. And in case you're wondering, that is what caused me to quote-unquote stalk her on her blog. Because she was rude to me and she's chatting with my friends, so of course I'm gonna watch both blogs like a hawk. I don't trust her. Both are different situations with different people, but it's the same formula, the same pattern. Mayo, you doing this is no better than what I did. You're proving absolutely nothing other than becoming something that I used to be. And the fact that you detonated me, that not only proves that you're holding on to the past and won't let go, but it also proves that you're just gonna bitch for the sake of bitching and will take any chance you get, because you're so miserable and so sad that when you see someone happy, you want to bring them down to your level. Like I said, Mayo, you're reminding me a lot of how I used to be. It's familiar because I've been there and I've seen it. Yeah, I was a piece of shit back then, but at least I can admit what I did was wrong. You and Angel and everyone want me to change so badly? Guess what? I am. And I have been for the past year. You bringing up shit that I've done in the past, especially with other people, is not gonna get me to change, sweetheart. Like I said, belittling someone and bringing up shit that they've done in the past does not help or motivate the change. It makes the person go in reverse. They revert back to old habits, and it knocks them back down into the hole they're trying to climb out of. You all want me to change? Let me change. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna talk to new people and make friends whether I know they're friends of yours or not. I'm not trying to turn your friends against you. I just want to move on. I'm not. Kura would do that. But Kura's not here anymore. Saki is here now. And Saki doesn't do that. I'm not going to let you bring up dead topics that are years old to, metaphorically speaking, bring Kura from the dead. Because truth be told, Kura, that demon, she terrifies me. She scares the living hell out of me. I know what she did was wrong. I know what she's done. I've seen her do it. And I am not gonna let her come back and do the same thing again. And Mayo, all of you who are obviously listening, if you still continue to want to bring up the stuff that I've done in the past, by all means go right ahead. It'll only prove the points I've made. Not only that, it'll only prove who's the real person that won't let go of the past. It'll also prove who's the real person that's holding on to something that's a year old, and who's the one that's actually moving on. So since all of you are obviously not going to let the past go, keep grasping at those straws. Meanwhile, I'm going to be here moving on down the road less traveled with a smile on my face. Kura is dead. She's buried in the ruins she ravished in the past. I'm walking across the border to the greener pastures to make my new life. No grudges, nothing personal. I'm changing. I'm moving on. I'm not changing for any of you, okay? I'm changing for myself. I don't need the weight of the burdens from my past stressing me out. And I will not carry them when you force them into my arms. We're all adults here, aren't we? And you know, Mayo, even if I did go back and update the artist description with credit to Cherry, you all would still get on my ass for it. Just like Panda Boo Cupcake did when I did what she told me to do and credited Cherry for the quote-unquote inspiration. Anyway, again, I know this has been a really long message, and I do apologize for the length, but after what happened Saturday, there was a lot that needed to be said. And like I said, I cut ties with you all for a reason. I've got my own life. I've got my own issues to deal with. Majority of them are personal issues. I don't need you adding your drama and shit on my plate. If anything, I'm gonna take it off my plate and flush it down the toilet where it belongs. Leave me alone. I don't need this stress and drama, thank you. So please leave me alone. Also, Monty, sweetie, if you're watching this, I just want to say that I'm absolutely sorry that you were dragged into this drama. You did not deserve or need any of this stress and crap on your plate. No good friend should force you into taking sides and force you not to talk to someone. That's basically abuse and manipulation, and good friends, real friends, do not do that. So, Monty, again, I'm really sorry that you had to go through this and you were dragged into this. You did not need this petty high school drama whatsoever. And you know what? You all can still dislike me. That is perfectly fine with me. I'm just proving my point and putting my foot down, telling you to stop and leave me alone. And you all know my lovely best friend. Well, we've been friends for 3 years. Even told me that back in the day, I was immature. But the thing is, true friends call you out on your shit, yes, but they stay with you. They help you get better because they care about you as a friend. They don't harass you and treat you like shit and then drop you like a hot tamale. Uno no es monedita de oro para caerle bien a todos. And that means one isn't a golden coin that everyone will like. And like I said, you guys don't have to like me. I'm not gonna force you to. I'm just saying my piece, putting my foot down, and telling you all to leave me alone. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thank you all to who listened to the end. So, bye!